There's going to be background noise. I've got fans and air conditioning going, and I can't do anything about it. My body's all swelling up. I have to keep things in my ears. My little holes are filling up, and I'm swollen. My eyes are killing me, and my hair is a frizzed ball. But anyway, I woke up with visions and flashbacks. And I'm not going to have a decent day unless I talk about it. And I'm not going to put it on my website because my website's full. And I'm going to tell you one woman's story, which may be hundreds of thousands. Prescription drugs can put you in a wheelchair and cause you to lose your speech. And you could get misdiagnosed with MS. And in fact, it's multiple chemical sensitivities, and some are even being told they have Parkinson's. I'm not going to tell you about him, because by the time we found out, it was 5 years later and he was dying. I got him off the drugs just long enough to be able to say goodbye to his wife. He hadn't been able to talk for 5 years. But the one in 1966, it's on record at the Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto. And it was written up, so I know it's on record. But here's the thing. I took one of my paralyzing attacks, and this one was so bad, I called an ambulance. Or my neighbor called it. My landlady called an ambulance. She heard me screaming. And I'm not going to talk about that. But I was in the Mount Sinai for 2 months under observation, and make a long story short, I found out in 1989 from a doctor in New York that the tests that they gave me and claimed I was a pre-diabetic wasn't the sugar. It was the chemicals in the test. So that's a whole other story which I've written about many times and I've talked about many times. But I want to talk about today on prescription drugs given by doctors that put a person in a wheelchair and lose them their speech for the rest of their life. Yeah. Because we don't have proper MRIs on the planet in hospitals. And what's happening is that these drugs are poisoning people. So there I was in the Mount Sinai, and slowly with the diet, because there's nothing wrong with the diabetic diet, I started to recover. And I went on a Mediterranean diabetic diet for the next 30 years. And what it did for me was give me a great body, plus the exercise. So they bring this woman in a wheelchair in the next bed and put her in the next bed. And typical of the way my brain works, like a computer, she couldn't talk, she couldn't walk, and I was starting to have a full recovery. And Dr. Wallfish doesn't know what to do with me, because it wasn't the first time he tested me. He tested me he'd been doing it since 1964. And he claimed that he wrote it up in the medical journals and nobody cared. Well, it's 2024 and still nobody cares. But anyway, after a few days, I noticed that at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, she's coming out of it, and she's actually aware, and she could talk to me a little bit, and she could move her legs. What the hell's going on? Then they give her medication. Pow! For the rest of the day, she's a paraplegic. She can't walk, she can't talk, she can't move. Well, I don't know how many days it took me, stupid thing, how many days it took me, but I said to her, listen, trust me. I want you to stop taking those pills. Pretend that you're taking them and then spit them out, and I'm going to put them in the garbage. Give them to me. Because if you put them under your pillow, they're going to find them. And I'm going to blow a bunch of spit and snot and put it in a Kleenex. So we did that, and I'm not sure. I think it was about 5 days, and she fully recovered. She could walk, she could talk. So I said to her, we're going to play a little game, okay? I did her hair, and I did her makeup, because I had all that shit with me. And I said, and I'm going to dress you in one of my outfits. I had a lovely gown. And I said, and we're going to dance up the aisle together. And we're going to stir them up, because they're not going to listen to me. And that's what we did. We went singing and dancing up the aisles. Well, talk about a hullabaloo. They called in specialists from all over Toronto, and whatever doctor gave her that MS medication got shit. But it didn't change anything, because she's not the first one whose life I saved, and not the last. What's really interesting, her family all thanked me, her children all hugged me, and then they left, and I never heard from them again. And that's not the first time I've saved a life, and I never heard from them again. People are funny when you save their life, and they just walk away, and that's it. They forget like you even exist. But it happens to me in my life a lot. But my point of this video is, beware of what you put in your mouth from a doctor. Make sure that you really need them, because we don't have the tests to properly identify if you really have MS or Parkinson's. All they can do is put you under observation, which they don't do. They just guess and give it to you, and boom, in your mouth it goes. Killed my mother twice. I would pull her back from the grave, literally, the second time. It was a high blood pressure pill that she didn't need, and I'm not going to go into that story. But the point is, prescription drugs can save you, and they can destroy you. Make sure you do your own research, and don't pay attention to everything they tell you. Where's the proof? There was no evidence that this woman had MS. Why she was on those drugs in the first place, I don't know. She probably took an attack similar to mine. It was probably multiple chemical sensitivities. Could have been caused by something she ate that had a preservative, pesticides, diesel fumes, smoke, laundry fumes, any number of thousands of chemicals. And your attack is you cripple and you can't talk. And the doctor's going to call it Parkinson's or MS. And it isn't. So, I don't know that anybody's listening. I lost all my followers. Nobody's paying attention anymore. I haven't had any media journalists that follow since 1996. But anyway, I'm just putting that out there. Some drugs can put you in a wheelchair. Over and out. This is too long and nobody cares. Okay, I had major sinus attacks, and I took a bunch of garlic pills, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I'm going to go to Walmart for exercise. Yeah, toxic air for me. Oh, God, I can't wait for snow. Okay, over and out.